You hear that? That is the sound of my air conditioner running. It is on the maximum cooling setting right now because it is warm in here. In fact, right here I have a little thing. It says it's 81 right in this room right now. Doesn't it? Isn't that just amazing? That air conditioner has been on all day. It is nighttime right now. I never film these videos at nighttime, but it is horrible right now. TriMet posted this little cheat sheet picture on their Twitter recently, and I'll go ahead and throw that picture up on screen now for how the Max will be running. Now we are hitting record-breaking temperatures, and it just says simply over 100, well, 90 to 100 degrees, delays up to 15 minutes on orange and yellow lines, green line in downtown Portland and between Clackamas and Gateway. I'll explain why a little bit later. Only those lines are affected, but the blue and red are immune to having to run slower in that 90-degree weather. Let's move on. Over 100 degrees, delays up to 30 minutes as all trains are restricted to 35 miles per hour, which is going to be true here. Although I'm pretty sure TriMet has been basically saying that they're just always going to be running trains no faster than 35, just so that I'll explain a little bit better later why we're running at slower speed in the first place. It's not just, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do this to make people's commute longer? Because, yeah, trust me, there are actual legit reasons for running the trains slower during this time. We're going to skip over the bus thing in the middle because it's just, you know, it's just saying that there's might be extra traffic. But on the WES, over 100 degrees, the trains are going to slow to 40 miles per hour. So if you ride the WES, it will be slower. And over 105, train service is suspended and stations are served by shuttle buses. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the WES just because I've been on it a grand total of one time in my life, and it was 7 years ago. We tried it just for the heck of it. I did record it. I have videos of it somewhere on one of my hard drives. But the reason why I haven't been back, there are reasons. I don't really enjoy the WES as much as I enjoy the Max. I'm not going to get into any sort of debate over that. It absolutely serves a purpose, and it is very comfortable to ride. Basically, over 105 degrees, these trains are not able to run. So the trains, I guess, probably overheat. I'm no WES train expert. I don't know anything about the WES trains. These are all just basically theories. Why does the Max run slower in high temperatures? And why does the WES run slower in high temperatures? I also want to answer the question as to why the green, orange, and yellow lines don't really they have to slow down in the 90+ temperatures, but the blue and red lines do not have to slow down in the high temperatures. Why is that? I am going to do my best to give an easy-ish explanation to understand. When TriMet was, or when whatever construction company was building the actual Max lines, you have to use the overhead wires because we have a pantograph that touches the overhead wire. Any Portlander is probably familiar with that fact. Now, the only way to get these to work is, well, the best material to use for overhead wire is copper. And copper, like almost anything, but copper and other metals especially, can expand and contract in the heat. And so as the temperature gets warmer, there are weights. So on all of the catenary poles, those are those gray poles you see every once in a while between the trackway holding up the wires. On all of those there are 18650, but there are counterweights. These are the only thing I have that really look like counterweights. They're kind of sort of like those weights in a grandfather clock, but not really. As I've explained before, I have basically explained this, but I'm going to explain it again with a little bit more detail. Well, anyway, as the temperature rises, the copper wire is expanding overhead, and so the wires can sag. So the weights they go down and they pull on the wire to keep it tensioned. So that, because they do need a lot of tension. As when a train is passing under it with their pantograph, they actually put quite a bit of pressure up on those wires. So the counterweights will sink as it gets warmer and warmer to where it can keep the wires tensioned. But in temperatures hitting that 90-degree area, the wires will sink so low that plop, they hit the ground. So it'll get so warm that the wires will get so low that they'll just touch the ground. And so at this point, the wires are tensioned, but if they keep expanding, the wires can sag. And so as a safety measure, the trains all have to drop to 35 miles per hour. But wait a minute, I hear you might think, how is the blue and red line immune to this sort of thing? Well, instead of using WES 18650 batteries as our example, we're going to use Yahtzee chips. Imagine these on a much larger scale on the system. So let's say we had a stack like this. So these weights are individually stacked. And the TriMet replaced all these on the blue and red lines only a few years ago. I hope they get to the rest of the system at some point, as it could really benefit from these stackable weights. So they stack some of these weights on top of each other. And that way, you can save a little bit of space so that when the weights need to drop to tension the wires, yeah, they're still going to drop. So how is this any better of a solution? Well, let's take some more weights and stack them on top. Now, the weight can be up here and it can still tension with the same amount of weight. So if the wires are getting too low, just add some more weights on top and it'll balance it back out again. So that is why TriMet does not have to run the max on the blue or red lines any slower. It's because they're using those stackable weights on the system. Why they haven't done that on the green, orange, or yellow lines yet, I'm not really sure. They're probably going to get to it here shortly, hopefully, but they haven't. So then, wait a minute. Why are the train, if they can just continue to infinitely stack weights on top of each other to balance it out, then how come the trains still have to slow down in 100+ heat? And hang on, wait a minute. The WES does not run on overhead catenary wires. It's a diesel train. Why does it have to slow down in the heat? It doesn't have any wires to worry about. That question and more will be answered very shortly. Well, remember how I said everything contracts and expands with the amount of heat applied to it? And, well, copper for the copper wire is no exception. You know what else is no exception? The steel rails. So yes, in extreme enough heat, the rails themselves can contract or expand, making them unpredictable. And so just as a highest safety procedure, the trains, all trains, will be slowing to no faster than the 35 miles per hour, as you saw. And maybe for the WES, because I keep forgetting all the numbers, okay, the WES won't be running in temperatures above 105. So yeah, they slow down in the case of extreme heat. So, and now you know why. Is because not only will the wires expand and thus sag in the heat, so the wires need attention and the wires can hit the ground, so the wires can actually sag. But even when that isn't the main issue, the rails themselves can warp slightly. It's not as extreme as you're probably thinking, but just as the highest amount of safety procedures, the speed limits will be pretty highly limited on the trains. So if you're going to be traveling out Sunday or Monday, I have no idea when I'm going to edit this video. I'm recording this Saturday night. I hope to have this video up tomorrow, Sunday, sometime. I know it's kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing, but that's just how I had it. I never finished my thought there, but if you're going to be traveling over the next couple of days, number one, be careful, stay hydrated, stay cool. All the vehicles are air-conditioned. But just take care of yourself and also know that your commute will be taking quite a bit longer. Okay, so that's it for the heat related talk and all that sort of stuff. Now I just have a couple of general updates. So number one, I know that literally days before my June 15th update on the max overhaul stuff, where they're overhauling the Type 2s and 3s, Well, several days before I made that video, somebody emailed me and I showed you the picture that he was able to take at Ruby Junction. That was from Oregon Building Railfan. I almost forgot your name. That was embarrassing. Well, then, like, the very next day, I think it was Monday or maybe Tuesday, which was basically, I think, a day before I uploaded my video on this, so I had already edited everything and was ready to publish it. Well, they took 315 out for a little photo shoot with the new general manager, and they got a picture of this train. I'm not going to show you any of the pictures now. You can look them up if you want, but I will be showing them in my July update on 315. And no, it is not running. It is still not running. You can check the list of TriMet vehicles that are currently running. It is not on there, but I'm still hopeful. I am undoubtedly... It would make sense that they're probably not going to run it anyways during this heat wave, because I don't know if they're going to have some sort of event like, oh, here, come and check out our trains. And I know the camera probably shifted around, I had to move it, and I know they probably would not want to run number 315 and showcase it on a 113 degree day. And last thing, remember those videos I was talking about of, oh, well, I need to get the rest of my Seattle videos edited together, and maybe those will go up on this channel as one long movie. And I also need to edit together my list of all the things that went on while the overhead wire came down by sunset in June, on June 2nd, I believe, for a couple of days. Yeah, well, I have been Mr. Procrastinator, if that's even a word, and I have not edited a single second of either of those videos. So no idea when those are coming, so hope you weren't looking forward to those real soon, but hopefully I'll get them together. I am making absolutely no promises, as I have been horrible. I have been very lazy when it comes to that, so hopefully you'll see those soon. I believe that's everything for this video. If I have anything else I need to update you on, I will update you on it. But for now, that is going to be it, and I will see you on the next video whenever that is.